What is up, my friends and fellow busy bees? Since I have been keeping you guys updated on my life and business as things have progressed in Mel Did It Herself, I just wanted to do a little chit-chat life update today to keep you up to date with what's going on behind the scenes in the business and where I'm at, because we have some changes that are coming up, which is very exciting. But in today's episode, you will not be learning anything about furniture refinishing, so if you're not particularly interested in the happenings of my life and my business, no offense taken if you want to skip today's episode. But for those who are maybe interested in going full-time in your business, or maybe you're just a little bit nosy like me and want to know what's going on that I don't necessarily share on social media or really outwardly at all, then feel free to stay tuned. I debated whether or not I should even bother doing an episode about this, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Things won't be changing in terms of the forward-facing Mel Did It Herself. But then I thought, if I was somebody who was interested in growing my business and I was looking to somebody who is maybe doing something that I aspire to do or to have a similar setup one day, would I want to know all the dirty details? Yeah, I probably would. So because I'm nosy and I appreciate transparency, I opted to just do a little bit of a quick update today. So a quick TLDR about Mel Did It Herself and how I started furniture refinishing and the progression of my business, if you have missed previous episodes where I've talked about it. Basically, in early 2020, around March, I did my first furniture makeovers on some pieces from my late grandmother. They were pieces that I made over to put into our home, which we had moved into the previous summer. And shortly after that, COVID started and we were stuck inside for the next, maybe 3 years. So I had a lot of time to learn about techniques for doing furniture makeovers and practice, and I got the itch for more and basically eventually started selling the pieces on Marketplace, which eventually rolled into doing custom work for clients. And by October of that year, I decided to make it an official business, and I ran that part-time while I also worked a 9 to 5 up until July 2022 when I decided to go full-time in the business. And that was a really big deal for me. I also did an episode back then when I went full-time, and you can go back and listen to where my mentality was at with that. I was just so excited. I felt really grateful and also proud of being able to grow it to that point, and also the fact that I don't have a business background and I was able to figure it out. I felt very self-assured, and it was really validating just to know that I'm able to figure things out. You know, if I set a goal and I aspire to get somewhere, that I'm able to actually put the things in motion to get there. That was like a really validating and prideful thing for me, and it still is. And I recognize that a lot of people may want to get there one day, but either the stars don't align and they're not able to achieve that, or they're maybe just not able to put the things into motion to get them there, whatever it may be. Could be luck and chance, could be motivation and dedication. But regardless, I recognize that it is a spot that I certainly never saw myself being. And I know from people that have reached out and told me about where they want to be and where they aim to be, that it's a spot that a lot of people would absolutely love to be, and I have absolutely loved it. Not only with running the business and the day-to-day of that and just having full control over what I do, when I do it, what projects I take on, how I want to structure things. I've said it before on here, I'm a controlling kind of person. I'm very independent. I'm an only child. I'm not used to sharing things or having people tell me what to do. Well, I'm used to it because society, you kind of have to, but I definitely don't prefer it. So to be able to call the shots and have only myself to blame for mistakes that happen, I just vibed really well with. The accountability aspect was a great lesson to remind myself that you need to own up to your shit and look at things as a learning opportunity versus harping on the fact that you screwed up and then just moving forward from it. I learned so many great lessons throughout the last couple of years, and there was a lot of trial and error too in terms of things that I integrated into my business that stuck or didn't, and I had to pivot. Different ways of advertising and marketing approaches and social media approaches and trying to get my name out there. There's been so much. And I've also absolutely loved it for the freedom of it and the freedom that it allowed me in my life to have, because I was truly able to take the time to prioritize anything that I've ever said. I would love to do that, but I don't have the time right now. And I know there's so many things that it's so easy to say that about, whether it's eating the right things, moving your body, dedicating time to the people you love, or a hobby you've wanted to take on, or adequately cleaning the house and reorganizing and getting things set up. Like, whatever it is, I basically had no excuse anymore, so I was really able to deep dive into those things, and I've created some really great habits over the last couple years that I have been maintaining and intend to maintain. But the flexibility and the freedom has been truly one of a kind, and I understand that it's potentially a situation that I may never find myself in again, so I've also been really intentional to remain grateful for it and just taking the moments to reflect on how lucky and how content I am with where life has been. And that being said, very soon some things are going to change because Mel's going back to a 9 to 5. And I don't even really know what tonality to put into my voice when I say that, because my thoughts about that have changed over the last few months. Ultimately, the reason for going back is just where I and my family and my household currently are at. It makes the most sense to get some benefits going and having the consistent income for where we are hoping to take our family in the near future. It makes a lot more sense to have those things set up. Mortgages are being renewed soon. I don't know if you've seen what's going on in the Canadian housing market, but we want to be prepared for that. And the reality is things have gotten exponentially more expensive over the last few years. It's actually pretty fucked if you look at the numbers. I don't know what's going on in your neck of the woods in the world, but Canada's unwell. And so I got myself a little 9 to 5 job. And I actually made the decision to do this back in December. My husband and I sat down and just had a conversation of what makes sense. And I must say, I know he doesn't listen to this, and I would bet a lot of money on the fact that nobody that knows him is listening to this, but shout out to my husband because he has been such an amazing anchor through all of this. He has, through my whole self-employment journey, been nothing but supportive and encouraging, and has not had any pressure put on me. He has not had any opinions about everything. He knows what questions to ask to help me think through and work through what I'm feeling and where I'm trying to go and what I'm thinking about. But he's never pushed me in one direction or the other. He just fully supports whatever decision I make and is so objective in his approach to it, which I'm so grateful for, because I know how much pressure that could have added to me if he was stressed over the last couple years, and if he was really pushing me to work harder and do this or that or whatever that looked like. He did none of that, and I'm so grateful for it because I have enjoyed the shit out of the last 2 years. Let me tell you. Once you can run errands during the day and not have to do things in the rush of the after work people who are in shit moods and are just trying to get home, it makes such a difference. Being able to up and go away for the weekend or go do stuff in the middle of the week during the day and not have to ask for vacation time ahead of time. It's been incredible. But this is where life is at right now, and I am totally at peace with it now. I will say my ego got in the way a little bit when I first made the decision. I was a little bit salty. I knew it was the right decision to make, but I needed some time for my head to be wrapped around it and to reframe it not as a failing or not as I have to go back to work because I wasn't able to run the business well or anything, because that's not the case. The reality is just that a government job's a little bit more stable and a little bit better paying for the most part, if I'm being honest. And I knew that would be the case when I started, but I've now been able to come to terms with it and be able to focus on the positive things that have come out over the last 2 years and how much I've really been able to grow the business. And things really won't be changing all that much because the role that I now have is remote. I'll be working from home anyways, so I'll still have plenty of time in the evenings and weekends and even on lunch breaks to work on pieces if I choose to. And I'm very much excited. I will be honest to use that word choose because I'm getting a little bit tired. I'm not gonna lie. Self-employment takes a lot out of you because there's always something that you can be doing. You can always be doing more. And even if you're taking the time to say, you know what, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to take some time with friends, there was still always a long to-do list in my head of things that I could be doing. Or if I ever went to just like lay down, there's stuff in my brain that I always felt like I should be doing because the list never ends. There's always something more to be done, whether it's working on the actual pieces or getting back to emails or sending out estimates or posting on social media or looking for pieces to work on or updating the website or thinking up podcast episodes or writing the newsletter or. So I am looking forward to having the choice and being able to do things a little bit more as I feel like doing them. I'm probably going to step back a little bit from custom work and not book as many customs in per month as I move forward, so I have some time to work on my own designs. I've had some pieces clear out recently in my home, which is why I had been holding back on posting a lot more new pieces because I didn't want to finish them and then have them sit around if they didn't sell right away. But I've made some space as of late, so I'll just plug away at those as I feel like it. I'd like to be a little bit more consistent in social media because that's fallen off a little bit over the last few months as I've gotten things tidied up in my life. I will say one thing about having a set start date for a new job. I was able to get everything out of my brain that I had been wanting and meaning to do in my personal life but had not got the chance to do, because I would always prioritize things in the business first. I was able to write a big long list down and I've been plugging away at that. One thing, for example, I got married in 2021 and had not officially changed my name yet, and then finally got around to doing it and still have yet to do a couple things where I update my name in different accounts and things like that. Like, there's just always something more to be done. So it's been so great and felt so much like a burden off of my shoulders to get those things tidied up and off of my plate. And yeah, I'm honestly just looking forward to having someone else call the shots for a little bit. The role that I'm going into is not rocket science, and so to be able to just execute and not have to have that big picture thinking, I'm really kind of looking forward to the vacation in a way for my brain. And it will give me a little bit of time and perspective to step back and just evaluate what I want to do moving forward. And there will not be any changes to the podcast. There will not be any changes to the newsletter. I'm going to upkeep those. I'm still going to be doing furniture makeovers. Like I said, I might be on social media a little bit more. We'll see how I'm feeling about that. Another thing is I fucking hate my phone now. I don't know if anyone else is at this point, but I would just love to lock it away in a box and not look at it for like 3 weeks straight if I could, because there's just always something more to be done on it. And I'm someone who does not have any unnecessary notifications popping up on my phone. I have it so I need to go into the apps and like make the intentional effort to go and see what's going on there. But even still, there's always something to be done on my phone. There's emails that I have to reply to. There's inbox messages that I need to reply to. And I love all these things. Like, I'm always happy to do it, but it's just like I always feel like I'm in catch-up mode, and I would just love to have things be at an even keel for like 42 seconds so I could just feel like, okay, I got everything done. I don't know the last time I had everything done because there's always something more to be done. And I think that has weighed on me a little bit more than I've acknowledged over the last couple years. And I don't think I'm yet at the point of burnout, but I could see how people would get to the point of just saying, fuck it all, I need to go roll up into a little cocoon for a while and eat a bag of chips. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited as we move forward. It's a change. I'm going back from the all-inner to the side hustler in the furniture refinisher's success spectrum. That is why it is a spectrum and it's not one directional. You can go back and forth on this spectrum, and it's all about the stage of life that you're in and what your current goals are. We have some different goals now as we are in mid-2024 than we were in mid-2022, and that I was in early 2020, and that's just kind of how life goes. But like I said, I am not feeling any type of way about it. I like to try to approach these sort of things very logically and objectively and take any sort of emotions out of it, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and the way that I also like to run my household, to be quite frank, is kind of like a business, kind of like a project manager of a business. when I look at the different buckets and where are there risks or where are things at, like taking a stock of where things are, where we want them to be, decisions that need to be made in order to get us there. And so if you look at things really objectively, I find it helps you to make those sort of kind of life-altering decisions, like this could be considered. And then you stop being in your feelings about it, because at the end of the day, our feelings tend to lead us in the wrong direction a lot of the time, and that's not always helpful as we move forward. So that's a life update. I'll keep you guys updated of where things are at once I get settled, how I'm holding up. I am interested to see how my attention span holds up as I sit at a desk for 8 hours a day after having been a little busy bee putzing around in the house, in the workshop, running errands, doing things. I will be very interested to see how my short attention span due to TikTok holds up against that. If you have any tips and recommendations, please let me know, because my brain probably isn't what it used to be, if I'm being honest. I'm thinking maybe a sit-stand desk with a walking pad may be in my future, just to keep things moving and be able to burn off some energy, because I kind of feel like I might be a little hyperactive as I sit there. And something you may not know about me, I love little motivational messages. They always get me fired up, and I keep a running list of ones that are especially catchy or speak to me in the notes app on my phone. So I end every podcast episode with one that I've noted down over the years in the hopes that you leave our time here each week feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on whatever comes your way this week. So this week's Mel's motivational message is one that I think of often. I have mentioned it at least once on the podcast before, but I think it's fitting for today and for so many days as we start new chapters, and that is, one day or day one, you decide. Alright, that's it for now. I appreciate you guys sticking around to hear my little life updates and chit-chat with me. I will catch you guys next time.